Now I know what you're thinking, 15mm GP per hour must be clickbait, got to be, right? Not only is this method not clickbait, but you can earn 15 million GP per hour even whilst training your main. To add to that, these methods cannot become obsolete. Now the reason for the multiple login is because that's how we're going to make money. We're going to use the best setups possible, the best money makers, and whilst our main is training something relatively AFK, we're going to make this money on other accounts. You may think, well, is that allowed? I've just linked it, it's perfectly fine, as long as you're not doing any illegal activities. So this first account is called the Grotto, but it's easier to go through and click on, because it was set up by Settled, so it's easier to go through Settled's Twitter. If you just type in Google Settled and the imps or imp selling, I can't remember what I put in there, Settled, the Grotto, anything like that, it'll come up with his Twitter account with a link to it. Click on that, and then once you click on that link, it'll take you straight to the Discord with an invite, so you can go straight on there, and then you can start looking for DM spawns, because there's a lot of people that buy them, a lot of Iron Men especially, who buy these for a lot of money. So these are the prices. I'll just go through them and you can see how much they're buying them for. This is the Imp Map. Now as you can see, this is a fantastic map and it shows you imp locations, but the reason this method is so good is because it's a little bit outdated and there are imp spawn locations that are not on this map. In fact, the grey squared out areas are some of the best places you can go to go imp spotting, and no one else knows about them as of yet. As long as you do a little bit of work finding the best spots, these are your spots forever. I've done it, I've made absolute fortune doing it, and you're going to do the same if you can put a little bit of effort in. There are other money making methods that are not de-imp hunting that you can make money on that are a little bit easier, so you don't have to do this, but this is the best money maker. This is in Qarad, you probably know, it's the castle, and the reason this is good is because the implings get trapped in here. Now this is not the best spot, but I'm giving you an example of why it will be a good spot. So the imps get caught in here, and then they get stuck, so you can just hop world. Now I've seen a lot of guides on imp hunting, and it's about running around. It's not the best way to do it. Find a spot where you get a lot of imps and just hop worlds. And because now it's changed where you can hop worlds almost as much as you want, there is still a timer where you can't hop forever, but you can hop for a very long time, normally about an hour constantly before you hit the too many login attempts. The next spot I'm going to show you is one of the best spots in the game. However, it's heavily camped. You can only be at this spot with another 3, 4, 5 other people. And that's the downside to this. The first person that put this out there, that this was a spot, really messed up, because he would have been getting probably 3, 4, 5 dragon imps per hour quite easily, because this spot is amazing. The reason is because if you see these two little gaps on the fences, imps can go in, but it's very, very difficult for them to come back out. So once they're in there, they get stuck in there, and you can just hot world, and you have two fenced areas, the one above where the tortoises are, and the one below where the swamp toads are. And you can just hop from world to world to world to world, one of my favourite spots, and get imps. But again, you are sharing, so unfortunately, whilst there are tons here, they're not all for you. And if you can find a spot, if you could find a spot like this, and get an imp Byron that's paying 3 mil an hour, you would probably be making, on this one spot, on one account alone, 9 to 15 mil an hour. Next spot I'm going to show you is Qarad. This is another good spot, but again, people know about this. As you can see, there's a magpie there on this one I've just got there. Good world, you'll see them around this area. I stay here, and they sometimes get trapped near the altar, and sometimes they're just floating here. This seems to be the best spot for seeing as many as you can, just hopping worlds. Again, without running after them, because that takes a lot of time, and I've tried that, and that method is not great. The next spot is a bit of an obscure one, but as you can see from the map, on the map, this doesn't exist allegedly. There's no spawn place here. When I release this video, you might get lucky because it's my first release. There might not be loads here, so you might be able to do this. But you might also have the problem where these areas are taken, but that's okay because you can find your own areas. There's many. So I'm going to show you the different areas here and what I'm doing. I have my main account in the middle at the top, and then I have these 5 accounts all the way around, which are just imp spotting, and all I have to do on them is just click the next world. So I've got them on the world, I click the next world on each one, on 5 different accounts. By the time you've all loaded, gone to the next world, I do it again. And I don't have to do anything else, that's it. It's one of the most easiest things in the world, and it's been making me about 15 mil an hour. Now I'd struggle to do this an hour while recording it, having 6 screens running and doing everything else in the background. So this is just to show you the setup, and then I'll do it on a few accounts so you can see it, and you can see how much I'm making doing this method. So when I was setting this up, I got very lucky. There's a lucky Impling in the top right. They're very uncommon, lucky Implings. But this is now 2 accounts, just imp hunting, nice and easy, nice and chill. Doing some Slayer on my main on the left hand side. You can see my strength XP at the top left, so you can see that it's constant all the way through this. And I'll speed up between imps so you can see how many I'm getting. 2 of my favourite spots. The top right spot, just so you know, is actually just left of Slep, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, on the path there. And this is an amazing spot. I don't even understand why this works. So I was going to a Slayer task and I came across this spot and I kept seeing imps here every time I went to go and do some vampires. So I decided to just camp here, and I thought initially they were going to get caught in the railings on the right, as you can just see that in the mini-map. But what really happened was they just end up in this middle bit, and sometimes there's as many as 4. So there's obviously a lot of spawns here, and they are in this area most of the time. So when you're hopping, you'll see in the top right how many times you'll see Implings just floating around. And you know you've got a good spot then. I turn on all of the Impling finders on my Rune Light. As you can see there, first Dragon Imp. And I'm going to go on to Discord. I'm going to go into Discord and I'm going to put in first of all and sell. Excuse that, this is how chill this method is. I was watching the football in the background while making the video because it's so easy. And this is the thing with this, is it's not 100 miles an hour. You don't need to be able to raid, you don't need to be amazing at the game, you don't need to be able to do 10 things at once. I literally picked something AFK on my main to do, which is Slayer. He's got in a place that's auto-aggressive, and on the right side I'm flicking between each world. I've already caught my first imp. This buy is only 1.5 million, one of the lower ones, but that's okay. 1.5 million, and that's that done already. So, already made 1.5 million while being AFK, watching the football and doing a bit of Slayer. And I'm just going to speed through now on the time to the very next one. What I'm using with the light is I'm clicking it to pick up all the imps. So there's an option on Implings on your Rune Light. If you click on it, if you're not using Rune Light, they're amazing. You should do. You don't have to, but it's just so much easier, especially something like this. I like to show all Implings, and the reason for this is because it gives you an idea of whether there's anyone else about hunting in the same place as you. Also, whether there's a lot of Implings. If you're finding a lot of Implings of any type, you're going to find a lot of Dragon Imps. It's that simple. It's just a matter of time and a matter of luck. Only Jagex could put RNG into something like this, but they have done. I don't know if you spotted, there was another D-Imp here. This unfortunately despawned. It's a very rare thing. So they have a 15-minute spawn timer, and after that they despawn. And for the first 2 minutes you can't see them. Normally when you message these people, they take between 30 seconds and a minute. The good ones take 30 seconds, the other ones about a minute. Obviously they have to get all the way to you, so sometimes it is longer, especially in the top right spot that I've got here. I found this D-Imp, and unfortunately it despawned. Because it was in the pen, I hot worlds. Probably shouldn't have done, but I know the person who was buying that sold a few things. I was happy for there to go and get it and then pay me later. I left that and then it despawned, and it happened sadly. Now and again it'll happen. Only about 1 in 50, 1 in 30, something like that. It's very, very rare, so don't worry. It will happen now and again. But the best thing about this method is I find it's more interesting. So I get bored. I'm 98 Slayer. Slayer's now tedious. I mean, I've done 99 Slayer on a few accounts, as you probably most of you have. If you play old school Runescape, because we come from a time when we played it and then it changed and then we started again from a fresh account. We've done a lot of these many times, so they are tedious. And I find this more interesting, so I'm making money. I'm having some, not fun, but I'm enjoying looking for these DMs, making some money. In fact, the next method I found is the best one, which we'll come to in a bit. Again, 42 minutes now. This is my third D-Imp. I'm not doing anything. I'm not running around. I'm just hopping worlds. I'm literally clicking on worlds. My only time in this whole money-making method was to find a decent spot to go around the map. When I see an imps, I would hop a few times, see if they're in the area, have a little look around. If it was no good, I'd try again a bit later, and so on and so forth. But if you can figure out a very, very good area, somewhere I've not thought of, and other people haven't, again, where for some reason they corrugate together, then you'll make a fortune. I mean, I put 15 million, because I don't have to exaggerate. That's generally what I'm making about an hour doing this. If I'm doing this on the kind of 4, 5, 6 accounts, that's the most you can do. If you look 52 minutes, I found another D-Imp. 4 is probably a bit more on average. On 2 accounts, I'll normally get about 3 per hour on these 2. My favourite spots, the top right one being the one I normally get at least 1. Normally 2 per hour on that one. The bottom right one, I get like 1 per hour. So I normally get about 3 per hour on these 2. This is 4 on this one. That's how it goes when you're recording. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. That's the 4 D-Imps on there. And again, this is not even the 5, 6 accounts you can do it on, as I showed you initially. This is just 2 accounts that I've made. If there were a £3 million buyer on it, a 3 million GP buyer on it, it'd be 12 million. You know, and I'm just doing some Slayer. This will change how you play the game. If you're not doing this already, how you play the game will change forever doing this. Because it has for me. I'm now making loads of money without having to grind raids, without having to do different things. I'm making loads of money simply just by doing some other things in the background. The next Discord is called We Do Raids, and this is a way of selling raid layouts. So when you go into Chamber of Xeric, it will give you a layout of what's there. Now if you got RuneLite, it does it for you. It'll tell you exactly what's in every raid, and they're looking for the best layouts possible so that they can do the raids in the best times that they can, and they pay a lot of money for it. In fact, some of the top raids, they pay millions and millions and millions. I've seen one go for 51 million before, so that's rare. Don't expect that to happen if you get your first one, but you're going to make a lot of money doing this method as well. It's a bit more interesting than D-Imp hunting. It's a very, very good method, a lot of money, and I found it quite fun. Just that thing of getting a layout that's the right one, almost the right one, damn, nearly, it's almost perfect. It would have been worth a ton of money, but one thing's wrong, and oh, finally got the best layout. I found it interesting in that aspect, and this was the one that actually I'll probably do all the time. Even after I finish this, I've been doing it for weeks, and this is the one that I'll do. Even though it's a little bit less than a D-Imps, it's probably 6 to 8 million per hour, but even still, it's just more fun. I find this more interesting, so while I'm training my other account, getting these layouts and then selling them, I enjoyed it. The only thing I will say is the main one is the top one, or the top 2. So the Vasa, Tecton and Vespula are the ones that pay. It's literally going to be half the money you make, because these raids, when they sell for 5 million plus. They can sell for less. Someone will give you a rubbish offer, but if you hold out for the right money, you'll get at least 5 million every time. This is just a normal day. So this is when you're not getting a big raid, which does add up and does help. And these are just doing some Slayer. I've got my Slayer on the left side. I'm picking up some raids on these 2 on the right hand side. So this is how much you make even without getting one of those. I'll let this run. I do edit out a few things on here because you have to take a picture of the raid layout. So you have to go into your file. So when that happens, it will jump. So here I found the first raid, which is the top right. And I'm going to try and sell that. I'm going to skip into when I sell it because this is where I have to take a picture and go into my files. This is a good layout. So this is 1 million on this one. Sometimes on the smaller ones you get anything from 200k up to 1 million. Most sellers won't sell for less than 200k because once you start going down that route, you're going to end up with 50k, 100k, and it's not really worth your time. Whilst doing this, I found another one down the bottom right. Now this is in the wrong order, so they like tightrope to be before crabs. You can actually get thieving as well in there and sell it, but thieving is becoming very unpopular right now. So they want tightrope and crabs more often than not. Crabs second ideally, but the bottom right one, it's one of the best rotations, but it's got crabs the wrong way around. You never know what you're going to get. Now I find with this bottom right layout, when you get a good layout, but with crabs in the wrong place, sometimes you have to wait to get paid, but it's worth waiting. On the average or poor layouts with crabs the wrong way around, don't bother. Chances are, if it doesn't sell in the first few minutes, it's probably not going to sell. You're just going to end up waiting there. But when you get a good layout that normally sells, hang with it for a little bit longer. Because when someone offers you on these, they normally offer a decent amount of money. Unlike the other ones that you're holding on for 200-300k. So after 10 minutes or so, I get paid on this one. It's 500,000. It was worth waiting for. Sometimes you wait and you wait and you wait and it doesn't happen, but more often than not, if you have a good raid, someone will pay you for it. So after 19 minutes, already a mil and a half up. That's good for the first kind of 19 minutes, probably a little bit above average. 29 minutes before I find my next raid, another good raid. Probably underpaid on this one, but if you're someone who comes in and offers you almost the right money, I don't like to penny pinch, not because I think it's wrong, just because you might as well be cracking on getting another raid. If someone gives you a decent offer, and most people don't give you really bad offers. Some people are a little bit cheaper than others, some people just pay full whack straight away, but if it's there or thereabouts, just take the money, go and get another raid, and you'll earn good money doing this. That was after half an hour, so nearly the end of the raid now. I had a bit of a dry patch, it happened. Very last raid, just before the time ran out, I got this one. Sold it for not the most amount of money in the world, but 400k. That one made almost 2 million. And the bottom account made 500,000. You'll have good hours and bad hours. In fact, I've had an hour with absolutely nothing. I've had an hour making, you seen before, 5 million hours. You can make a lot of money, you can sometimes make poor money. On average, it's about 2.5 million per hour per account. On this, I think 3 accounts is enough. Whereas the imp hunting, you can have 5 or 6 accounts, just hopping worlds because it's so easy. On this, I'd say 3 accounts. You may be able to do more, but there's kind of a delay when you go into raids, which lets you do different raids. You go into a raid, it has a bit of a delay, it lets you click on with the other account. You come out of the raid, it has a different delay, it lets you click on another account, do the next bit. So you're constantly just going through different accounts. And about 3 accounts is enough for this one, in my opinion. After that, it's very stressful. You can do more, and I'm not sure how much faster it is. It's up to you, do what you want, but I say this method with 3 accounts is about 6 million per hour. Maybe a little bit more, but I'm not going to oversell this. I don't need to. It's fantastic money, and you're still training. So why wouldn't you do it? And the next one I'm going to do is essence running. Now, essence running varies in how much you make, again, like all of these, but this is not normally on many accounts because they actually pay you for the more you do. If you're very experienced and you have all of these stats, you can start off at the basic level, which is about 3 million per hour, which is still decent money per account, and you can do that on 2 accounts. So 6 million per hour just on 2 very basic accounts, non-stressful, similar to how I'm doing. Running essence like you used to do at the nature altar, it's no different to that. But to astral and lava now that they do for the best money, just for 1 pro account if you like, is 8 million per hour. And the 8 million per hour, you need to have all the pouches, so including the giant pouch, and you also need to have things like lunar diplomacy. You can see on screen all the requirements, as well as amulet of eternal glory, crafting cave, 75 rune crafting, 69 magic, and there's where the big money is. But you'll build up into that, and that's fine. You can see if you like it. Start off 3 million per hour. Run for someone. Sometimes they run for a few hours, sometimes they don't. All you do is you go into this CC. It's dead straightforward. Someone will say, I'm looking for this many runners, this world at this time, going to do running for 2 hours, for example, and you put your name down, they take you on, and you do running for an hour or 2, or whatever you decide to do, and at the end they pay for it. It's really simple. I mean, there's nothing complicated about this one whatsoever, and very good money. So I don't know if this is actually the best method, because I don't know if the ones that do, the professional runners if you like, that run 2 accounts and have all them requirements, I don't have them requirements on my alt. That's why I didn't do it. I didn't try. Can get 60 million an hour or not, but try it. It may be the best. The last one we're going to do on Runelight is for bone running, and that is in the Discord bone job. And in this one it's slightly different. You do have to pay a deposit, and this amount you do get back at the end when you finish doing this, whenever you decide to not do this anymore, but it's quite a large amount of money. The reason they do this is you're traded the bones up front, so to make sure no one steals them and just takes the bones and goes, you pay a deposit to a rank, not to the person you're running for, and whenever you want it back, you get it back. Now the rates for this do vary. If you're doing running for someone who is AFK, you make a lot less than someone who is one ticking. You can make up to 3 million when they are one ticking, depending how good they are at it, and only as little as 800k when they aren't. But when they're not one ticking, you can do it on multiple accounts, so it's a pretty similar amount. This is not the best money maker, but it is pretty AFK and pretty easy to do, and it's still a good amount per hour. 2 accounts, 1.6 million on the easy AFK method, and very, very easy to do. You do have to watch out for trades. These people aren't paying you to hang around and wait for you to see a trade screen, so you do have to pay attention, but very easy to do. It's obviously at the house portal in Rimington. It may not always be on world 330. They may want a less laggy world, but they will tell you which world it is that they want you on. You put down how much they pay you per inventory, and then they contact you on this one, so they'll message you when they're looking for a runner. But not only is this method so good for using this Discord and all these new methods that are available, but it's also just good for anything. So you don't have to go and get membership. You don't have to go into Discord and download stuff. You can do mining, you can do fishing, woodcutting. It doesn't matter. I mean, how AFK is mining, fishing and woodcutting? You can do these things on 4 or 5 different screens, free to play world, making a couple of 100k an hour each, 1 mil, 2 mil per hour, depending on how many accounts you want to do, whilst training, easy as. It's almost like botting, but we're so used to not being able to trade accounts, not being able to do things, that it almost feels wrong to do this. But this is how to make money now without having to take your main off and do something or grind or not level anymore. Because I'm doing this. As long as your main's doing something relatively AFK, these are also AFK. That between them, it's like one game. Because you can do 6 accounts at once, 10 accounts at once. I mean, some of these methods, how long does it take you to fish sharks? Even put in there, just for the laugh, green dragon hunting, because you can do it. If you want to do green dragon on 4, 5, 6 accounts, you're going to make a couple of mil an hour as well. And the best thing about this method is the more people do it, the more money Jagex makes, the more updated it is to the game, because I've bought, in this last few weeks, maybe 20 bonds between this and Simpugga's challenges. In a week alone, 20 bonds. Now I know that initially that'll just drive the price of the bonds up, but then people will sell more bonds, so Jagex will get more money. Just an all-round great method for you making money. Hope you liked it, and I hope it works as well for you. If you did like the video, please take the time to like, share, and subscribe. Helps out a bunch, means I can do more of these videos in future, as well as commenting if you have any better ideas that you can do with this type of method and help everyone else out. Thank you very much for watching.